White-collar crimes. Nonviolent crimes committed in professional settings, usually for financial gain. Corporate fraud. Embezzlement. Insider trading. Tax evasion. The price of trust. In a high-rise office overlooking the city, Daniel Carter operated a sophisticated white-collar crime ring. From corporate fraud to tax evasion, his empire thrived on deception. When a whistleblower stepped forward, the intricate network of embezzlement and insider trading began to unravel, forcing Daniel into a desperate bid to cover his tracks. Voyeurism. The act of secretly observing others, often in an unethical or intrusive manner. Spying. Peeping. Snooping. Eavesdropping. Through the keyhole. Amelia rented an old mansion with a dark reputation. Late one night, she discovered hidden peepholes in the walls, a relic of someone's voyeurism. As she investigated further, she realized someone had been spying on her every move. She set up a clever trap to confront the mysterious figure and uncover the truth behind the mansion's chilling history. Verdict. A decision or judgment made in a court regarding a legal case. Judgment. Ruling. Decision. Determination. The final word. The trial was the talk of the town. All eyes were on the courtroom as the jury deliberated for hours. When the verdict was finally announced, the judgment brought tears to some and relief to others. The ruling set a precedent, changing lives forever and becoming a landmark case in the annals of justice. Vandalism. The deliberate destruction or defacement of property. Defacement. Sabotage. Destruction. Wreckage. Painted shadows. A quiet neighborhood was shaken by a spree of vandalism. Graffiti-covered walls and broken streetlights left the streets in darkness. Detective Harper was determined to find the culprits. As the defacement and sabotage escalated, Harper discovered a surprising motive behind the acts: a protest against a corrupt developer destroying their beloved community. Usury. The practice of lending money at excessively high interest rates, often unethically. Extortion. Loan sharking. Overcharging. Exploitation. The cost of greed. Oliver Reed, a shadowy moneylender, thrived on usury. His victims were bound by his extortion, sinking into despair under his loan sharking. When a community came together to fight his exploitation, Oliver's empire began to crumble. Unpremeditated murder. A murder that occurs without prior planning or intent, often in the heat of the moment. Impulsive killing. Accidental homicide. Spontaneous slaying. Manslaughter. The price of anger. It was a moment of rage, a heated argument that spiraled out of control. Jason never meant to commit unpremeditated murder, but the impulsive killing shattered lives. Now, he must face the consequences of his manslaughter in court. Turn in. To report someone to the authorities or to surrender oneself. Surrender. Confess. Report. Deliver. The silent witness. After weeks of hiding, Lily decided to turn in her brother, Ben, to the authorities. She couldn't protect him any longer. With a heavy heart, she chose to report his crimes, hoping he would find redemption by choosing to surrender. Trespassing. Entering someone else's property without permission, unlawfully. Intrusion. Invasion. Encroachment. Unlawful entry. The forbidden woods. The dense forest had always been off limits, but curiosity got the better of Sophie. Her trespassing turned into an adventure filled with the unknown. Little did she know, her intrusion had awakened something ancient lurking in the shadows. Trespass. The act of committing an offense or wrongdoing, especially on someone's property. Violation. Breach. Infraction. Offense. The line crossed. When Martin built his fence across his neighbor's yard, it was more than just trespass. The violation ignited a feud that spiraled into court battles. With each infraction, their animosity grew, threatening to destroy their entire neighborhood's peace. Treason. The crime of betraying one's country, especially by attempting to overthrow the government. Betrayal. Sedition. Subversion. Treachery. A nation betrayed. During a time of political unrest, Alexander, a once trusted official, committed treason by leaking classified documents. His betrayal spurred widespread chaos. As his subversion plot was revealed, the government scrambled to contain his sedition and safeguard the nation's stability. Treachery. The act of betraying trust or being disloyal. Deception. Perfidy. Betrayal. Infidelity. The double cross. In a shadowy underworld of spies, Adrian's treachery came to light when he sold secrets to the enemy. His deception ruined missions and endangered lives. Yet it was his perfidy that shocked his closest ally, Mia, who vowed to seek justice for his betrayal. Traitor. A person who betrays their country, friends, or trust. Betrayer. Turncoat. Defector. Backstabber. The mark of the turncoat. Among rebels, Sam's reputation as a fearless leader was shattered when he was exposed as a traitor. His role as a defector to the enemy turned the tide of the conflict. Once praised, Sam was now seen as the ultimate backstabber, his name forever associated with betrayal. Trafficking. The illegal trade or movement of goods, substances, or people. Smuggling. Illegal trading. Black market trade. Contraband dealing. The hidden network. Ava uncovered a trafficking ring that exploited vulnerable individuals. The smuggling of contraband had spread across borders, and the web of illegal trading was far-reaching. Her relentless pursuit revealed a dark underworld fueled by black market trade. Traffic offenses. Violations of laws governing the use of roads and vehicles. Road violations. Moving violations. Driving infractions. Vehicular misconduct. The red light chase. Darren's life took a turn when a series of traffic offenses landed him in trouble with the law. From minor road violations to dangerous driving infractions, his actions led to a high-speed chase. The police eventually apprehended him, bringing his streak of vehicular misconduct to an end. Track down. To search for and find something or someone. Hunt. Pursue. Locate. Chase. The shadows we chase. Detective Harris had one goal: to track down a missing scientist who held vital information. The labyrinth of the city turned into a backdrop as he pursued every lead. When he finally managed to locate her, their encounter set off a chase through the darkened streets, uncovering secrets that changed the world. Torture. The act of causing severe physical or mental suffering deliberately. Torment. Agony. Distress. Persecution. The mind's prison. Captured by enemy forces, Mia endured psychological torture. Her captors reveled in her torment, but Mia's strength lay in her resilience. Through her agony, she devised a plan to outwit them, turning their tactics of distress against them. Theft. The crime of stealing property that belongs to someone else. Stealing. Robbery. Burglary. Larceny. The silent alarm. Alex's life as a thief came crashing down one fateful night. During a high-stakes theft at a gallery, the silent alarm shattered his plans. As the police arrived, his partner revealed their betrayal, leaving Alex trapped amidst accusations of burglary and larceny. Testify. To give a formal statement in a court, typically as evidence. Bear witness. Swear. Depose. Declare. The oath of truth. Maria had to testify in a courtroom filled with tension. Her task was to bear witness to a crime she had seen. As she stood before the jury, her declaration of the truth exposed a lie that had kept an innocent man imprisoned, altering the course of justice forever. Suspended sentence. A legal judgment where a convicted person does not serve time in prison unless they commit another offense. Deferred sentence. Probation. Lenient judgment. Conditional discharge. Freedom with chains. Ethan stood before the judge, knowing his suspended sentence would change his life. Given a second chance under a deferred sentence, he vowed to stay on the right path. But the weight of the conditional discharge was heavier than he imagined, reminding him of the fine line between freedom and captivity. Suspect. A person thought to be guilty of a crime or offense. Accused. Defendant. Perpetrator. Culprit. The unseen truth. Detective Lin had a hunch about the suspect, a quiet artist who seemed too nervous. As the accused, he insisted on his innocence, yet clues pointed to him as the culprit. With every interview, Lin doubted if the perpetrator was who everyone thought. Surveillance. Close observation, especially of a suspected individual or group, typically by the authorities. Monitoring. Watching. Tracking. Observing. Eyes in the shadows. Agent Novak set up surveillance at the edge of the bustling market. The monitoring of the smuggling operation required precision, and the team meticulously tracked the suspects. The tension grew as they spent hours observing every suspicious move under the veil of secrecy. Surrender. To give up oneself, a position, or something to another party, often under pressure or authority. Yield. Give up. Capitulate. Submit. The last stand. Cornered in a decrepit warehouse, Marcus knew he had to surrender. Though reluctant to yield, he realized there was no escape. With his hands raised, he decided to submit to the authorities, leaving behind the chaos that had consumed his life. Subpoena. A legal document ordering someone to attend court as a witness or to produce evidence. Summons. Court order. Writ. Legal notice. The summoned witness. Eliza gasped as she opened the envelope containing a subpoena. The summons was clear: she had to testify in a high-profile trial. The legal notice demanded she bring crucial evidence, thrusting her into the center of an unfolding courtroom drama. Stowaway. A person who secretly boards a vehicle, ship, or aircraft to travel without permission or payment. Hidden passenger. Illicit traveler. Sneak. Intruder. The hidden passenger. On the colossal cargo ship, a stowaway hid in the shadows of a storage container. The hidden passenger survived on stolen scraps, evading detection by the crew. When discovered, the illicit traveler spun a story of desperation that left even the captain questioning the harsh rules of the sea. Stalking. The act of following or monitoring someone persistently, often in a way that causes fear or concern. Harassment. Pursuit. Shadowing. Following. A shadow in the night. Sarah knew she was being stalked. The pursuit felt relentless, with someone shadowing her wherever she went. As fear crept in, she began piecing together clues, unraveling the identity of the person harassing her and taking control of her life again. Smuggling. The illegal movement of goods or people across borders. Trafficking. Bootlegging. Contraband dealing. Illicit transport. The cargo of secrets. Captain Jonas helmed a ship notorious for smuggling. The trafficking ring he worked for demanded secrecy, but one careless mistake exposed his bootlegging operation. As authorities unraveled his contraband dealing, Jonas faced a perilous decision to escape or surrender. Slander. The act of making false and damaging statements about someone to harm their reputation. Defamation. Libel. Character assassination. False accusation. The whispered lies. Abigail's world crumbled when slander spread about her work. The false accusations tarnished her career, and she struggled to counter the defamation. Her determination to expose the truth unveiled the person behind the character assassination, restoring her reputation in the end. Shoplifting. The crime of stealing goods from a store without paying for them. Theft. Stealing. Pilfering. Larceny. A slip of the hand. Mia thought her shoplifting would go unnoticed, a quick theft of trinkets. But the store clerk had been watching her pilfering attempts. Caught red-handed, she faced a choice: face consequences or redeem herself through an unexpected act of kindness. Search warrant. A legal document authorizing law enforcement to search a place for evidence. Writ of search. Legal authorization. Court order. Judicial permit. The door that opened secrets. Detective Callahan entered the abandoned factory, armed with a search warrant. The court order allowed him to explore every corner. Under old crates, the evidence revealed by the writ of search led to the breakthrough in an unsolved mystery spanning decades. Sabotage. The deliberate destruction, damage, or obstruction of something, often for political or competitive reasons. Wreckage. Destruction. Obstruction. Disruption. The silent saboteur. Deep in a corporate war, Ryan orchestrated an act of sabotage against his competitors. The wreckage left in his wake was deliberate, calculated to ensure the destruction of their success. Yet, the subtle obstruction of their systems unleashed chaos and disruption beyond his imagination. Robbery. The crime of taking property unlawfully from a person or place by force or threat. Theft. Burglary. Larceny. Stealing. The midnight heist. Under the cloak of darkness, a group of masked thieves executed a robbery at the city's most secure bank. The burglary was flawless, with the team escaping undetected. But greed led to mistakes, unraveling their perfect larceny and exposing their theft for the world to see. Road rage. Aggressive or violent behavior exhibited by a driver due to anger or frustration. Aggressive driving. Vehicular anger. Reckless driving. Car fury. The fury on the freeway. Late for an important meeting, Greg's road rage spiraled out of control. His aggressive driving and reckless overtakes caused chaos on the highway. The vehicular anger he displayed ended in a near collision, forcing him to confront the consequences of his car fury. Riot. A violent disturbance of peace by a crowd, often in protest or disorder. Uprising. Revolt. Insurrection. Disturbance. The streets of chaos. The protest began peacefully but soon escalated into a riot. The uprising saw flames rising from overturned cars, and the disturbance engulfed the city. Amid the chaos, a young man caught in the revolt found himself grappling with the price of the insurrection. Resolution. A firm decision to do or not do something, or the act of solving a problem or dispute. Decision. Determination. Resolve. Commitment. The moment of clarity. After years of hesitation, Clara made a resolution to follow her dreams. Her determination grew with each step she took toward her goal. Her commitment to overcome every obstacle proved that with enough resolve, anything is possible. Ransom. A sum of money or payment demanded for the release of a person, property, or captive. Payment. Redemption. Bail. Demand. The price of freedom. When billionaire Elise Carter's son was kidnapped, the criminals demanded a ransom. The payment came with precise instructions, but Elise chose to defy them. Her attempt to rescue him herself brought her face to face with the true cost of redemption in a nail-biting sequence where the demand for control clashed with a mother's love. Racketeering. The act of engaging in illegal activities, often as part of an organized crime syndicate. Extortion. Blackmail. Fraud. Corruption. The syndicate's web. Detective Ramirez uncovered a hidden world of racketeering within the city. The extortion was masked behind charitable causes, and fraud swept through local businesses. With every lead she pursued, the web of blackmail and corruption tangled further, leading to a dangerous confrontation with the crime boss himself. Put away. To incarcerate or imprison someone as part of their punishment. Lock up. Imprison. Detain. Incarcerate. Behind steel bars. After years of evasion, notorious con artist Evan Gold was finally put away. The judge's decision to lock up the mastermind brought relief to his victims. But within the prison walls, whispers of his plan to escape began to circulate, leaving authorities questioning whether they could truly detain him. Prostitution. The practice or occupation of engaging in sexual activities for payment. Exploitation. Sex work. Immoral trade. Solicitation. The streets of night. The city's underbelly thrived on prostitution, where exploitation was rampant. Maya, a social worker, fought tirelessly against the shadows of sex work. Her mission to dismantle the chains of immoral trade brought her face to face with the deep roots of solicitation, forcing her to confront the risks of her noble fight. Prosecutor. A legal representative who brings charges against someone in a court of law. Legal advocate. Trial attorney. Court officer. State attorney. The case that changed everything. Angela Mason, a fierce prosecutor, stood unwavering in court. As the legal advocate for the victims of a high-profile case, she faced relentless challenges from the defense team. Yet her skill as a trial attorney and commitment as a state attorney turned the tide, delivering justice against all odds. Probation. A period during which an offender is allowed to stay out of prison under supervision with certain conditions. Supervision. Conditional release. Rehabilitation. Community service. Walking the line. After his release on probation, Jacob was determined to rebuild his life. The supervision was strict, and his rehabilitation through community service brought him closer to the people he once ignored. But one wrong step threatened to end his conditional release. Premeditated murder. A murder planned and carried out intentionally. Planned killing. Intentional homicide. Calculated murder. Deliberate crime. The shadows of intent. Detective Clark faced the case of a premeditated murder. The planned killing was evidenced by the victim's schedule being altered days prior. The calculated murder left a chilling sense of precision that hinted at an emotionally charged deliberate crime. Polygamy. The practice of being married to multiple spouses at the same time. Multiple marriages. Bigamy. Plural unions. Concurrent marriages. The web of many vows. In a remote village, rumors of polygamy caused unrest. Adam's multiple marriages led to secrets unraveling as his plural unions became exposed. The chaos of his concurrent marriages painted a picture of heartbreak hidden beneath tradition. Poaching. The illegal hunting or capturing of wild animals, often violating conservation laws. Illegal hunting. Animal trafficking. Wildlife theft. Unlawful capturing. The silent forests. The poaching ring operated under the cover of darkness. The illegal hunting of endangered tigers led to cries of outrage as wildlife theft destroyed the ecosystem. Conservationists worked to expose the unlawful capturing operations and rescue the animals. Pleading the Fifth. The act of refusing to answer a question in court to avoid self-incrimination, based on the Fifth Amendment. Refusing testimony. Invoking rights. Exercising silence. Legal self-defense. The silence of truth. Under intense scrutiny, Evelyn chose to plead the Fifth. Her legal self-defense raised suspicions, but her decision to refuse testimony stemmed from fear. As the courtroom held its breath, her exercising silence became the key to unraveling the deeper conspiracy. Piracy. The practice of attacking and robbing ships at sea, or illegal duplication of copyrighted works. Sea robbery. Bootlegging. Copyright violation. Plundering. The Crimson Tides. Captain Blackthorne ruled the seas with a heart full of piracy. His sea robberies terrorized merchants, but it was his plundering of a royal fleet that changed the tides. The bootlegging of stolen goods brought his infamy to new heights. Pilfering. The act of stealing minor items in small amounts. Stealing. Snatching. Filching. Petty theft. The little things. Rosie couldn't stop pilfering from the bakery, just a loaf here and there. Her petty theft seemed harmless until her filching was caught on tape. The town rallied to support her, transforming her snatching into an opportunity for her redemption. Pickpocketing. The act of secretly stealing valuables from someone's pocket or bag. Theft. Purse snatching. Bag lifting. Stealing unnoticed. Fingers of the crowd. Mark's skill in pickpocketing was unmatched. His bag-lifting left tourists baffled as they realized too late what was missing. But when he mistakenly stole a detective's badge, his purse-snatching spree turned into a thrilling chase. Perpetrator. A person who commits a harmful or illegal act, especially a crime. Offender. Criminal. Culprit. Wrongdoer. The face behind the crime. The search for the perpetrator consumed the small town. Every clue pointed to a new culprit, until an unlikely offender emerged. Confronting the wrongdoer revealed a complex web of motives behind the act that shocked everyone. Perjury. The act of lying under oath in a legal proceeding. False testimony. Lying under oath. Fabrication. Deception. The web of lies. During the trial, Simon's perjury became evident when his false testimony crumbled under scrutiny. His fabrication of events was exposed, and the court took swift action to penalize him for his deception. Penalty. A punishment imposed for breaking a law, rule, or contract. Punishment. Sanction. Fine. Reprimand. The cost of dishonor. When Liam refused to abide by his contractual obligations, the court imposed a heavy penalty. His company suffered under the weight of the sanctions and fines. As the punishment loomed, Liam faced a difficult choice to protect his future despite the reprimand shadowing his career. Patricide. The act of killing one's father. Father killing. Parricide. Familial homicide. Parent slaying. Shadows of betrayal. In a chilling twist, Edward was accused of patricide. The evidence pointed to a parent slaying fueled by long-buried resentment. As the truth unraveled, secrets revealed whether this familial homicide was an accident, a parricide, or something far darker. Pardon. The act of forgiving or excusing an offense or crime, typically by a figure of authority. Clemency. Forgiveness. Amnesty. Exoneration. The King's clemency. Sentenced for theft, Ella never expected a royal pardon. The clemency sparked outrage among villagers who despised her amnesty. Despite whispers against her exoneration, Ella vowed to use her second chance to repay society for the forgiveness bestowed upon her. Out on bail. The temporary release of an accused person awaiting trial, secured by payment or guarantee. Temporary release. Conditional freedom. Released on bond. Bailment. Freedom's ticking clock. After being accused of embezzlement, Derek was out on bail. The conditional freedom gave him time to investigate who framed him. His temporary release felt fragile, but every second of being released on bond brought him closer to proving his innocence before the bailment ended. Perpetrator. A person who commits a harmful or illegal act, especially a crime. Offender. Culprit. Criminal. Wrongdoer. The masked figure. The hunt for the perpetrator of a daring heist kept the city on edge. Each clue pointed to a different offender, but when the true wrongdoer was caught, the city reeled from the shock of the culprit's identity, a beloved public figure no one suspected. Offense. A breach of a law or rule, an illegal act. Violation. Wrongdoing. Infraction. Transgression. The broken rule. When Ethan committed his first offense, a minor infraction, he thought it would go unnoticed. But the wrongdoing spiraled out of control, each transgression leading him deeper into a web of consequences he never anticipated. Mutilation. The act of inflicting severe damage to a person's body, often deliberately. Disfigurement. Injury. Damage. Deformity. Scars of the battlefield. The soldier bore the marks of mutilation from years of war. The disfigurement told stories of battles fought and lost, while the injury served as a constant reminder of sacrifice. The damage was more than physical, it haunted him every waking moment. Murder. The unlawful killing of a human being with intent. Homicide. Slaying. Assassination. Premeditated killing. The whispered truth. Detective Sarah was determined to solve the murder of a politician. The homicide had the hallmarks of a professional assassination, and the clues pointed to a carefully planned premeditated killing, but uncovering the truth would come at a cost. Mugging. The act of attacking and robbing someone in a public place. Robbery. Assault. Stealing. Street crime. The Alley of Shadows. Jenna's walk home turned into a nightmare when a mugging left her shaken. The robbery was quick, the assault terrifying, and the street crime felt like a grim reminder of the dangers that lurked in the city. Determined to reclaim her safety, she joined a community watch group to fight back. Misdemeanor. A minor wrongdoing or criminal offense, less severe than a felony. Minor offense. Infraction. Petty crime. Misdeed. The price of a prank. Kevin's college prank escalated into a misdemeanor. What started as a minor offense involving spray paint led to a series of infractions. Kevin's regret for his petty crime taught him the weight of even the smallest misdeed. Mirroring. The act of imitating or reflecting someone's behavior, style, or expression. Reflecting. Copying. Imitating. Emulating. The twin shadows. Nina couldn't understand why her coworker, Lila, was mirroring her every move. The emulating began subtly but quickly turned into copying that felt eerie. Lila's reflecting of Nina's personality unlocked a chilling mystery about identity and obsession. Miranda rights. The legal rights read to a suspect upon arrest, ensuring they know they can remain silent and have legal counsel. Legal warning. Right to silence. Arrest rights. Suspect's rights. The silent words. When Officer Blake read the Miranda rights to the suspect, the courtroom buzzed. The legal warning had been ignored in a prior case, leading to chaos. This time, the right to silence was wielded skillfully, unraveling the balance between justice and suspect's rights. Manslaughter. The unlawful killing of a person without premeditation. Unintentional killing. Accidental homicide. Reckless killing. Criminal negligence. The road of regret. The accident was horrific. Jake never intended the manslaughter of the cyclist, but his reckless killing stemmed from careless driving. As the case unfolded, his unintentional killing and criminal negligence brought lessons he would carry for life. Lynching. The illegal killing of someone, usually by a mob, without legal trial or authority. Mob killing. Vigilante execution. Unlawful hanging. Extrajudicial killing. The flames of injustice. The town erupted in rage, and a tragic lynching occurred. The mob killing shocked even those who participated. The extrajudicial killing was fueled by rumors, and the horrifying reality of the vigilante execution left an unhealed wound in the community. Looting. The act of stealing or taking goods, typically during a riot or war, often in chaotic situations. Plundering, robbing, pillaging, ransacking. The chaos of the storm. During a citywide blackout caused by a storm, looting broke out in abandoned stores. The plundering of high-end shops escalated into ransacking residential areas. As the authorities tried to intervene, the pillaging revealed just how fragile civilization could be. Lock up. To confine someone in prison or a secure location, usually as a form of punishment. Incarcerate. Imprison. Detain. Confine. Behind the bars. Michael was locked up for a crime he didn't commit. His days of incarceration turned into nights of frustration as he plotted a way to prove his innocence. The more they tried to confine him, the stronger his determination grew to reveal the truth and escape his detention. Libel. The act of publishing a false statement that harms someone's reputation. Defamation. False accusation. Character attack. Slander. The written lies. A journalist's career took a dark turn when a libel lawsuit was filed against him. His defamation of a celebrity became the talk of the town. As the truth behind his false accusations unraveled, the consequences of his character attack pushed him to confront his own integrity. Let off. To release someone without punishment or with a light penalty. Excuse. Pardon. Spare. Release. A second chance. When Sarah was caught stealing a loaf of bread, the shopkeeper decided to let her off with a warning. This pardon sparked outrage among others who weren't excused in the past. Sarah took this opportunity to spare herself further trouble and turned her life around with the generosity of her release. Legislation. Laws collectively or the process of making or enacting laws. Lawmaking. Regulations. Policies. Statutes. The power of a bill. The activist campaigned for years to influence legislation against industrial pollution. Her fight for stricter regulations led to revolutionary policies that saved her hometown's rivers. As the statutes were passed, her journey symbolized the power of collective action and effective lawmaking. Kidnapping. The unlawful act of taking someone away by force, usually to demand ransom or for other motives. Abduction. Hostage-taking. Capturing. Seizing. The silent abduction. On a quiet autumn night, a mysterious group executed a kidnapping in the heart of the city. The abduction of a high-profile tech CEO sent shockwaves through the nation. The seizing of such a figure led to a tense standoff as investigators worked to locate and rescue the victim from the shadowy depths of the captor's hideout. Joyriding. The act of driving a vehicle recklessly, often without the owner's permission, for excitement or thrill. Reckless driving. Car theft. Unauthorized cruising. Thrill driving. The reckless escape. Teenagers Tim and Jake took a stolen car for joyriding, their unauthorized cruising through city streets a dangerous game of cat and mouse with the police. The adrenaline-fueled reckless driving spun out of control, leading to consequences that would change their lives forever. Interrogation. The process of formally questioning someone, often under pressure, to obtain information or evidence. Questioning. Interviewing. Examination. Cross-examining. Under the spotlight. In a dimly lit room, the detective began the interrogation of a prime suspect. The sharp questioning was met with deflections, but the detective's skillful cross-examining unraveled hidden truths. The tension in the room grew thick as the suspect's facade began to crack under the relentless examination. Interrogate. To ask questions of someone, often in a thorough and demanding manner, to obtain information. Grill. Cross-examine. Probe. Question intensively. Cracking the silence. Agent Miller had one goal: to interrogate the captured spy. The intensive questioning revealed little at first, but Miller's ability to probe into subtle inconsistencies broke through the lies. The grilling session exposed a web of deceit, placing the fate of an entire mission at risk. Incarcerate. To confine or imprison someone, typically as punishment for a crime. Imprison. Lock up. Detain. Confine. Bars of redemption. Marcus was incarcerated after a string of burglaries. His time locked up began with resentment, but as he reflected on his actions, the confines of prison offered unexpected clarity. Despite being detained, Marcus found purpose in helping fellow inmates, starting his own journey of redemption. Identity theft. The fraudulent act of using someone else's personal information, typically for financial gain. Fraudulent impersonation. Data theft. Personal theft. Privacy invasion. The stolen self. Emily's peaceful life unraveled when she became a victim of identity theft. The fraudulent impersonation drained her bank accounts and left her grappling with the aftermath of data theft. As she traced the culprit behind the privacy invasion, she realized reclaiming her life meant more than just finding justice; it required resilience. Hostility. Aggressive behavior, attitudes, or unfriendliness toward others. Aggression. Antagonism. Enmity. Bitterness. The brewing storm. Tensions in the small town turned into outright hostility between two rival families. Their simmering antagonism fueled acts of aggression that fractured the community. As the battle of enmity worsened, a young mediator sought to turn the tide of bitterness and restore peace. Hooligans. A group of troublemakers, often characterized by destructive or unruly behavior. Vandals. Delinquents. Troublemakers. Lawbreakers. The Night of Mayhem. A gang of hooligans roamed the city streets, leaving chaos in their wake. The vandals defaced property while the troublemakers set fires in abandoned lots. But when an unsuspecting teenager crossed paths with the delinquents, he unwittingly became a symbol of defiance against the lawbreakers. Hooliganism. Disruptive or unlawful behavior typically associated with groups, often involving violence. Disorderly conduct. Rowdy behavior. Riotous actions. Public misconduct. Echoes of anarchy. The soccer match turned into a spectacle of hooliganism. Fans clashed in displays of rowdy behavior as riotous actions spilled into the streets. Amid the disorderly conduct, a young child's act of bravery highlighted the importance of unity amidst public misconduct. Homicide. The unlawful killing of one person by another. Murder. Manslaughter. Assassination. Killing. The shattered silence. The detective's quiet evening was disrupted by a call reporting a homicide. The brutal murder sent shockwaves through the neighborhood. Each clue hinted at a sinister assassination, but as the pieces of the puzzle came together, the tragedy turned out to be a case of reckless manslaughter that no one could have foreseen. Hold up. A robbery or delay caused by force or threats. Robbery. Mugging. Delay. Interruption. The midnight heist. At the corner bank, masked men staged a hold-up. The robbery unfolded with calculated precision, but an unexpected interruption by a heroic bystander turned the tide. The daring act created chaos, foiling the criminals' getaway and bringing their scheme to a screeching halt. Hit and run. An incident where a driver causes an accident and leaves without providing assistance or contact information. Traffic collision. Vehicular accident. Car crash. Reckless driving. The vanished driver. A hit and run left Mia stranded on the roadside, her car badly damaged. The vehicular accident was swift, but the driver's reckless driving left little evidence behind. Determined to track them down, Mia became an investigator herself, uncovering a larger secret behind the fateful traffic collision. Hijacking. The unlawful seizure of a vehicle, plane, or ship, often using force. Seizure. Hostage-taking. Vehicle theft. Airplane commandeering. Flight to nowhere. The plane's routine flight turned into chaos when armed men attempted a hijacking. Their seizure of control sent passengers into panic. Yet, a brave crew member initiated a clever ruse that undermined the airplane commandeering and left the hostage-taking plot foiled. Hearsay. Information or rumor received from others that is not confirmed as true. Rumor. Gossip. Unverified report. Speculation. Whispers in the hall. The small village buzzed with hearsay after a mysterious newcomer arrived. The rumors painted him as a thief, and the gossip spread quickly. However, one skeptical resident decided to uncover the truth behind the unverified reports, learning how speculation can divide communities. Harassment. Aggressive pressure or intimidation, often repeated, to disturb or annoy someone. Bullying. Persecution. Torment. Intimidation. Shadows in the workplace. Olivia faced harassment at her new job. The bullying from a senior colleague turned into outright intimidation. Her courage to confront the torment inspired others, unraveling a culture of persecution within the company and sparking change for the better. Guilty. Responsible for a specified wrongdoing or crime, either legally or morally. Culpable. At fault. Incriminated. Blameworthy. The heavy weight of truth. Daniel sat silently in court, his guilty plea shocking everyone. Despite being at fault, his remorse and cooperation with authorities highlighted the humanity behind his actions. His story became a lesson in redemption for the culpable and blameworthy. Go down for. To be convicted or punished for a crime or misdeed. Get convicted. Take the fall. Face punishment. Be sentenced. A fall from grace. When the evidence surfaced, Julia feared she'd go down for the fraud. As the investigators closed in, she contemplated whether to take the fall or expose the mastermind. Her decision ultimately led to unexpected alliances, and she faced punishment with dignity. Genocide. The deliberate killing of a large group of people, especially those of a particular ethnic group or nation. Massacre. Ethnic cleansing. Annihilation. Systematic killing. The silent cries of history. The world reeled from the horrors of genocide. Survivors of the ethnic cleansing told stories of survival amidst systematic killing. Their determination to rebuild showcased hope rising from the ashes of annihilation, reminding humanity of the strength found in resilience. Gambling. The act of risking money or valuables on uncertain outcomes, often for enjoyment or financial gain. Wagering. Betting. Gaming. Risk-taking. The high-stakes table. Henry couldn't resist gambling at the casino. His betting spiraled out of control, leaving him deep in debt. The turning point came when he risked everything in one final wager, finding redemption not in winning, but in confronting the destructive cycle of his risk-taking. Fraud. The wrongful or criminal deception intended to result in financial or personal gain. Deceit. Scam. Trickery. Deception. The Golden Deception. When the prestigious gallery showcased a counterfeit painting, the curator realized a fraud had been committed. The deception cost millions, but an undercover investigator unraveled the scam. In the end, the trickery behind the crime painted a picture of betrayal and greed. Forgery. The act of falsely making, altering, or imitating documents, signatures, or art to deceive others. Counterfeiting. Fabrication. Imitation. Falsification. The signed lie. A valuable historical document was discovered, but experts soon found it was a forgery. The falsification of the signature was subtle, yet the fabrication unraveled under scrutiny. The culprit behind the counterfeiting had ties to a network of imitation art smugglers. Felony. A serious crime, typically involving violence and punishable by imprisonment or death. Serious offense. Grave crime. Major infraction. Heinous act. Beneath the shadows. The small town was rocked by a felony involving a bank heist gone wrong. The grave crime included hostages and violence, leaving lasting scars. The sheriff unraveled the heinous act as it became clear this serious offense had deeper ties to an underground syndicate. Fatality. An event resulting in death, often unexpected or involving an accident or violence. Death. Casualty. Loss of life. Mortality. The icy road. A tragic fatality occurred during a winter storm when a car skidded off an icy road. The loss of life haunted the town as the casualty led to heated debates about improving safety measures. The incident became a stark reminder of life's mortality. Extortion. The practice of obtaining something, especially money, through force or threats. Blackmail. Coercion. Threats. Exploitation. The price of silence. A powerful businessman controlled his empire through extortion. The blackmail kept his rivals at bay, while his coercion forced compliance. His empire of fear and threats eventually crumbled when one courageous victim exposed the web of exploitation. Extenuating circumstances. Factors that lessen the severity or culpability of a crime or offense. Mitigating factors. Justifications. Alleviating conditions. Excusing reasons. A plea for mercy. In a tense courtroom, Anna explained the extenuating circumstances behind her actions. The mitigating factors of her ailing mother and financial struggles painted a clearer picture. Her lawyer's case of alleviating conditions shifted the jury's perception of what they once saw as inexcusable. Espionage. The practice of spying, especially to gain political or military secrets. Spying. Intelligence gathering. Surveillance. Covert operations. The shadow operative. Agent Carter lived in the shadows of espionage. His life of intelligence gathering and covert operations became a web of danger when he uncovered a mole within his agency. The spying mission turned into a race against time, navigating surveillance networks to save lives and dismantle a conspiracy. Embezzlement. The theft or misappropriation of funds entrusted to someone's care. Misappropriation. Financial fraud. Skimming. Defalcation. The vanished millions. Peter, a trusted accountant, was caught in a scandal of embezzlement. His misappropriation of charity funds shocked the community. As evidence of his financial fraud came to light, his carefully hidden skimming operations unraveled, revealing years of betrayal. DUI, driving under the influence. Operating a vehicle while impaired by alcohol or drugs. Drunk driving. Impaired driving. Intoxicated driving. Substance-influenced driving. The road to realization. After a night of DUI, Claire's crash left her shaken. The consequences of her drunk driving haunted her as she faced court. Her journey to recovery from the recklessness of impaired driving became a story of redemption that inspired others to rethink intoxicated driving. Drug trafficking. The illegal trade or distribution of drugs. Narcotics smuggling. Illegal drug trade. Drug dealing. Contraband transport. The web of shadows. Under the guise of a small trucking business, a network of drug trafficking operated. The cartel's narcotics smuggling routes expanded across borders, but one slip-up led to the unraveling of their illegal drug trade. As their empire of contraband transport crumbled, an undercover officer's bravery came to light. Domestic violence. Abuse or violence committed by one partner against another within a household or intimate relationship. Spousal abuse. Family violence. Intimate partner violence. Household abuse. Behind closed doors. Maria's life seemed perfect to outsiders, but behind closed doors, she endured years of domestic violence. Her partner's spousal abuse left scars, but one moment of courage to escape the cycle of household abuse became a turning point, inspiring others to recognize the shadows of intimate partner violence. Do away with. To eliminate, get rid of, or abolish something or someone. Abolish. Eliminate. Eradicate. Get rid of. The end of chains. The new law aimed to do away with unfair labor practices. The push to eradicate exploitation was met with resistance, but activists refused to relent. Their dream to abolish the injustices set a movement in motion, finally achieving a world that sought to get rid of oppression. Defense. The action of protecting oneself from harm or responding to an accusation. Protection. Justification. Safeguarding. Counteraction. The stand in court. As the accusations mounted, Olivia's lawyer presented a strong defense. The counteraction against the charges provided a logical justification, safeguarding her reputation with strategic protection against a tide of false claims. Defendant. A person accused of a crime in a court of law. Accused. Respondent. Litigant. Suspect. The silent suspect. In a crowded courtroom, the defendant stood silently as the evidence was stacked against him. The accused maintained his innocence, and the respondent's composed demeanor left the jury questioning the prosecutor's case. Was the suspect truly guilty, or had they misjudged the litigant? Data breaches. The unauthorized access or theft of confidential information. Information leak. Cyber attack. Hacking incident. Security compromise. The invisible hacker. A major corporation faced a catastrophic data breach. The information leak exposed personal details of thousands of clients. Investigators uncovered the hacking incident, tracing it to a mastermind whose cyber attack shattered the illusion of a secure system in an age of digital reliance. Cybercrime. Illegal activities conducted using computers or the Internet. Online fraud. Digital theft. Hacking. Internet crime. The phantom hacker. A sudden breach at a multinational bank exposed a massive cybercrime. The digital theft left encrypted messages pointing to a global hacker known only as Phantom. The hunt for the Internet crime mastermind became a worldwide effort to bring down the hacking syndicate behind it. Cyberbullying. The use of electronic communication to intimidate, harass, or harm someone. Online harassment. Digital abuse. Internet trolling. Virtual intimidation. Echoes of the screen. Teenage Olivia endured relentless cyberbullying. The online harassment took a toll on her mental health until she decided to take a stand. By exposing the Internet trolling and advocating against digital abuse, Olivia sparked a movement, empowering victims of virtual intimidation. Custody. The legal right or duty to care for someone or hold someone, often referring to children or detainees. Guardianship. Control. Supervision. Detention. Bound by responsibility. After a heated court battle, Lucas fought for custody of his younger sister. The judge ruled in his favor, granting him guardianship. The transition from carefree sibling to full supervision of her life taught Lucas the weight of love and responsibility beyond detention. Culprit. A person responsible for a crime or wrongdoing. Offender. Wrongdoer. Perpetrator. Criminal. Unmasking the thief. When a priceless artifact disappeared from the museum, all eyes were on the security guard as the culprit. The true offender turned out to be someone no one suspected, a prominent historian. The discovery of the wrongdoer shocked the community, unveiling the twisted motives of the perpetrator. Conviction. A formal declaration that someone is guilty of a criminal offense, made by a judge or jury. Verdict. Sentence. Judgment. Guilty ruling. The price of justice. After a long trial, the conviction of a notorious crime boss sent ripples through the city. The guilty ruling brought closure to victims but also sparked fear of retaliation. The prosecutor's persistence in ensuring the verdict stood strong gave hope for a better justice system and changed the perception of fair judgment. Conspiracy. A secret plan by a group to do something unlawful or harmful. Scheme. Plot. Collusion. Secret plan. The web of secrets. Deep within the shadows of a powerful organization, a conspiracy brewed to overthrow the government. The plot unfolded carefully, each step a calculated move in their scheme. However, one whistleblower revealed the secret plan, shattering their collusion and exposing the truth. Coercion. The practice of persuading someone to do something by force or threats. Intimidation. Pressure. Force. Duress. The chains of control. In a small, quiet town, Emma faced coercion from a powerful landlord. The intimidation tactics ranged from veiled threats to open force. When Emma decided to fight back against the pressure, the community rallied behind her, ending years of duress. Circumstantial evidence. Evidence that relies on an inference to connect it to a conclusion, rather than directly proving something. Indirect proof. Speculative evidence. Inconclusive evidence. Secondary evidence. The thin threads of truth. Detective Harris built his case on circumstantial evidence. The indirect proof seemed weak at first, but as the secondary evidence piled up, the speculative evidence began to form a clear picture. What once seemed like inconclusive evidence turned into the key to solving the crime. Child abuse. The physical, emotional, or sexual maltreatment of a child. Neglect. Exploitation. Mistreatment. Maltreatment. The hidden scars. At a seemingly perfect daycare, Sam uncovered signs of child abuse. The mistreatment of vulnerable children shocked the community, with stories of neglect and exploitation coming to light. Sam's determination to protect the children exposed the harsh realities of maltreatment in places meant for safety. Cheating. The act of dishonestly violating rules to gain an advantage. Deception. Fraud. Dishonesty. Trickery. The betrayal of trust. Sarah discovered her husband was cheating on her exams for a big promotion. His fraud not only jeopardized their relationship but also his career. The deception left her questioning everything, but the dishonesty became a catalyst for Sarah to rediscover her own path and independence. Call for. To demand or require something, often in a formal or urgent manner. Demand. Require. Request. Ask for. The unheard plea. When the town faced destruction from an incoming storm, the mayor issued a call for unity. The demand for action brought neighbors together, while the request to evacuate saved lives. The situation required cooperation, and every ask for assistance highlighted the strength of their community. Burglary. The unlawful entry into a building with the intent to commit a crime, especially theft. Breaking and entering. Housebreaking. Illegal entry. Theft. Shadows in the night. A string of burglaries shook the quiet neighborhood. The breaking and entering left residents in fear as the housebreaking escalated. One brave teen caught the culprit during an illegal entry, unraveling the theft operation that haunted their once peaceful streets. Bribery. The act of offering money or favors to influence someone in authority to act in one's favor. Corruption. Coercion. Kickbacks. Payoffs. The silver envelope. Detective Lee uncovered a case of bribery in City Hall. The corruption included officials accepting kickbacks in exchange for contracts. As the payoffs unraveled, it became clear that coercion had tainted the city's governance, sparking an investigation that changed the political landscape. Bombing. The act of attacking with explosives, often to cause destruction or harm. Explosion. Detonation. Attack. Blasting. The sound of silence. A sudden bombing disrupted the quiet marketplace. The detonation caused chaos, and the blasting left traces of panic everywhere. But amidst the debris, a firefighter's bravery during the attack brought hope and unity to the shaken survivors. Blue-collar crimes. Crimes typically committed by individuals in lower social or economic positions, often involving manual labor. Manual worker offenses. Trade-related crimes. Employee theft. Industrial crime. The factory scandal. When an embezzlement scheme emerged at a factory, the investigation revealed a series of blue-collar crimes. From manual worker offenses to employee theft, the web of trade-related crimes revealed the depths of desperation that drove workers to commit industrial crimes in hopes of survival. Blackmail. The act of demanding money or favors by threatening to reveal damaging information. Extortion. Coercion. Threat. Intimidation. The price of silence. A powerful CEO fell victim to blackmail when a former employee threatened to expose secrets. The extortion escalated as the coercion pushed the CEO to the brink. But when the intimidation failed, the tables turned, and the threat became a weapon of justice. Bigamy. The act of marrying one person while still legally married to another. Dual marriage. Illegal union. Polygamy. Double wedlock. The hidden vows. When Sarah discovered her husband's bigamy, her world shattered. His dual marriage was a carefully hidden illegal union. As the truth of his double wedlock unraveled, Sarah's courage to confront the betrayal inspired others to stand against deceit. Bail. The temporary release of an accused person awaiting trial, secured by payment or guarantee. Bond. Surety. Conditional release. Temporary freedom. The clock is ticking. After being granted bail, Marcus had only days to prove his innocence. The bond gave him temporary freedom, but the pressure of the conditional release weighed heavily. With time running out, he uncovered the truth that would change everything. Assault. The act of physically attacking or threatening someone. Attack. Battery. Aggression. Violence. The shadows of fear. A quiet alley became the scene of an assault that left the town shaken. The attack was swift, the violence brutal, and the victim's courage to speak out against the aggression inspired a movement to reclaim the streets from fear. Assassination. The deliberate killing of a prominent or important person, often for political or ideological reasons. Murder. Execution. Targeted killing. Elimination. The silent bullet. The assassination of a beloved leader sent shockwaves through the nation. The targeted killing was carried out with precision, leaving behind whispers of conspiracy. As the investigation unraveled, the elimination of the mastermind became the only path to justice. Arson. The criminal act of deliberately setting fire to property. Fire-raising. Incendiary act. Pyromania. Property torching. Flames in the dark. The abandoned warehouse was ablaze, the result of calculated arson. The fire-raising was orchestrated by a desperate landlord seeking an insurance payout. As the property torching spread, a witness reported the incendiary act, unraveling a hidden world of greed and manipulation. Apprehend. To arrest someone or take them into custody, typically for a crime. Arrest. Capture. Detain. Take into custody. The chase through shadows. Detective Rodriguez moved swiftly to apprehend the elusive jewel thief. The capture of the culprit was the culmination of months of pursuit, but the thief's skill at evading arrest meant this would be no ordinary case. The detective's persistence finally ensured the criminal was detained and brought to justice. Acquitted. To be declared not guilty of a crime after a legal trial. Cleared. Exonerated. Freed. Found innocent. The verdict of freedom. The courtroom was silent as the judge declared the defendant acquitted. The exonerated individual sighed in relief, finally freed from months of public scrutiny. Despite being found innocent, whispers of doubt lingered, leaving the truth hidden in the shadows of uncertainty. Accomplice. A person who helps another commit a crime. Partner in crime. Co-conspirator. Collaborator. Accessory. The silent partner. In the heist of the century, the mastermind's accomplice slipped under the radar. As the investigation deepened, the authorities uncovered the co-conspirator's role in the daring escape. The partner in crime was the key to the entire plot, their identity a closely guarded secret, until one small mistake revealed the accessory.